Top 6 Rundown. Top 6 Rundown.
Hello everybody, welcome to Top 6 Rundown. I'm Charles in charge. This week, Arvin G is off. It's good he's dodging this week after his poor showing in the upset pick last week. Love you, man. Anyway, we'll start out with the SEC. Alabama retains the top spot after beating Texas A&M 49-42 on the road. This was an absolute thriller. Johnny Manziel fell way behind and then brought him back. And I think the biggest surprise for me was that Alabama found another way to win a football game. We knew Alabama could play defense, but they didn't win playing defense. They went in there and won in a shootout. They put 49 points up on the board. Now, Alabama is versus Colorado State this week. That should be an easy win for them and a good break off. And the question you really got to ask yourself is anybody going to stop Alabama? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going to be 4 for 5 for them. All right, LSU moves up to number 6 from number 8 with a 45-13 victory, and then they're going to play Auburn this week, and they'll finally have a real test to start their SEC schedule, but it'll probably be another victory for them. Texas A&M, after their loss, it falls to 10th. They're still in pretty good position, though, in the SEC West for now. They play SMU this week, though, so they should be a little careful in that game, but they'll probably still win. South Carolina moves up to 12th in the polls after a absolute abysmal 35-25 win versus Vanderbilt. This team is really a joke. They are pretenders in the SEC. Florida had the week off. They dropped a spot in the rankings. They play Tennessee this week. Now, I want to call this my upset pick of the week, but I'm just not feeling that confident in Tennessee, but I think they will test Florida a lot. Ole Miss, I picked Texas to beat them last week. Texas was winning the game in the third quarter and managed to throw it away. Ole Miss goes on to win. They have a bye this week. They're moved up to 21 in the rankings. Now into the Big 12. Oklahoma State moves up a spot with their win versus Lamar, and they play at West Virginia this week. But we can't not talk about these off-the-field shenanigans that have been like a dark cloud over the program right now. And we'll see if that comes into play later in this season. Right now, they are still the front runner in the Big 12. Oklahoma comes off a 51-20 shellacking of Tulsa, but still not looking that impressive on defense. Baylor moves up to number 20. They had a bye week. They play Louisiana Monroe this week. Will we see another blowout? Let's see. And then Texas Tech enters the rankings at 25 after beating TCU 20-10 after some real late game questionable calls. But I think the takeaway from that was their defense played outstanding football. They play Texas State this week, and of course TCU dropped out of the rankings like I said they would. They're garbage, didn't deserve to be there to begin with. And I'm envisioning another 7-win season for them. All right, now moving on to the Pac-12. I have to talk about since Arvin's not here. Number 2, Oregon. They stay there. They beat Tennessee 59-14. Kind of stunning that they beat them so badly. People thought Tennessee had a little bit of a chance in that game. Apparently not. And Arvin again is calling Cal to pull off the upset this week. We'll see if they actually do it. They have to travel to Eugene, and there you go. Number 5, Stanford. They won in very unimpressive fashion, 34-20 over Army. They play versus number 23, Arizona State this week, who enters the rankings after an absolute thriller, bizarre game against Wisconsin that we'll talk about more in a minute. That should be a real tight one. But I think Stanford will pull it out because of home field advantage. UCLA moves up to 13 from 16 after putting the hurt on Nebraska 41-21 in Omaha. They play New Mexico State this week. They have a very good shot at winning the Pac-12 this year. Washington moves up to 17 after beating Illinois 34-24, and they play versus Idaho State this week. Moving on to the Big Ten, Ohio State stays fourth with a 52-34 win at Cal. They're still not playing much defense, and they play versus Florida A&M this week. Michigan almost lost the game against Akron. They trailed in the late fourth quarter before they put it in the end zone. Their defense really won the game, though, with a goal line stand in the game. I don't know what happened. I guess it's just the hangover effect from the big win against Notre Dame. They play at UConn this week. That should be another win, but man, their drop to 15th in the polls reflects that. So we'll see what happens. I was really excited about Michigan, but man, did they look bad this week. Northwestern drops a spot in the polls to 18th after a 38-17 win over Western Michigan. I don't know if I agree with that drop in the polls, but whatever. They play versus Maine this week, and they'll just keep on tuning up, waiting for that big game against Ohio State. Wisconsin drops to 24th. They stay in the rankings, though, after their loss at Arizona State. Apparently, the voters feel as I do that I don't think that Wisconsin necessarily deserved to win. The call was bad, but you can't put yourself in the position where you're relying on the refs, as my old football coach used to say when I played in high school. So we'll see what happens this week. They play Purdue. That should be another easy win before they play Ohio State next week, and that should be a real test. We'll see if Wisconsin recovers from a real hostile environment, tough game. They got another hostile environment, tough game. And Nebraska finally falls out of the rankings where they belong. Yeah. All right, now in the ACC, we got Clemson up at number 3 again this week after a bye week, and they're playing at NC State this week. Now, for people who don't remember, NC State upset Florida State last year and ended their national title championships. I don't think it'll happen this year, but don't count on NC State. They are a tough team to play, especially in Raleigh. Florida State moves up to number 8. They dismantled Nevada 62-7, and they play Bethune-Cookman this week. Never heard of that school. I'm assuming Florida State's going to win. Don't know who they are. Miami dropped a spot in the rankings during the bye week. I don't know if I agree with that either. They're down to 16, and they play Savannah State this week, and they should win that one. All right, and the AAC, Louisville moves to 3-0 and stays at number 7 in the rankings after a 27-13 win at Kentucky. Very unimpressive-looking victory, though. Kentucky had several chances to score. Could have probably won the game if they didn't turn the ball over. And Louisville plays versus Florida International this week, and their title hopes might be shambled because of that, because in NCAA football, style points do matter. Now, as for our wild card game this week, I'm going to do North Carolina at Georgia Tech. Now, North Carolina, in my opinion, actually looked pretty good against South Carolina in the opening week, and Georgia Tech's looking to get back into the ACC picture. So this should be a real interesting game, real tough, gritty defense I'm expecting in this one. And our Heisman Watch, Johnny Manziel played well. My coworker Rick thinks that he should get another Heisman opportunity. It probably won't happen. A.J. McCarron might have a chance now at a Heisman. And don't forget about Taj Boyd at Clemson still, and Teddy Bridgewater at Louisville, although his stock might be declining a little. And Braxton Miller didn't play this week, and that always doesn't help your Heisman chances. So that's it for this week on Top 6 Rundown. Feel free to comment on our videos. Sorry I didn't post a comment video last week, but I'll have all the comments featured this week, including this week's and last week's. See y'all later. So, 2 things I left out. Number 9, Georgia had a bye week last week. They play North Texas this week. And my upset pick of the week is Notre Dame over Michigan State. Thank you for watching Top 6 Rundown.
Top 6 Rundown. Top 6 Rundown.